Welcome to the Perfect Partner Podcast, a show for those of you who have not given up on love despite its challenges, where we delve into those topics that may harm or affect your relationships. I am your host, Erin F. Darden, and I am on a personal mission to help everybody understand the significance of emotional intelligence in building and maintaining a healthy relationship. I hope that you join us on this journey of self-development, growth, and transformation, all in the name of pursuing and maintaining a love that is healthy, that is fulfilling, and that aligns with your core values. I started the Perfect Partner podcast because I feel like there is a lot of noise out here about what your relationship should look like and what it shouldn't look like, what women should do and what men shouldn't do. But I created the Perfect Partner as a safe space to allow my listeners to really understand themselves, to raise their awareness, and really understand their emotional landscape, so to speak. I am an emotional intelligence and relationship coach, and my goal is always to help people navigate the connection between emotions, behavior, and your relationship. And so, what you can expect from the Perfect Partner podcast every week, every Thursday, there will be an episode. And sometimes it'll be just me sharing my expertise, my personal experience about different things that I think lend to your relationships. Emotional intelligence has a lot to do with how you communicate with your partner. It also has a lot to do with how you resolve conflict. So, a lot of what I talk about is learning your communication style, learning your partner's communication style, and learning how to communicate in a way that is effective, meaning in a way that your partner can understand you so that you're heard and you can actually make some progress and resolve the conflict. So that's a lot of what I talk about. But there will be other times where I am joined by guests. I already have quite a few guests confirmed and lined up already. And so I have a few therapists, psychologists, other relationship experts, but that will come and share their expertise and their experience working with couples or just individuals, just through different topics that affects relationships. But I also, and I think this might be my favorite type of guest, I have also asked certain people to join me to talk about their own personal struggles and how they have overcome different things in relationships. So we will have people talk about, how they knew their relationship was over, how they decided to choose themselves, how they went from a toxic relationship to a healthy relationship, and the things that they had to do to be ready for that new love that they said that they wanted. So I am so excited for all of my guests because together, we are going to have a conversation that will hopefully give you the tools to learn how to navigate your relationship space better. All right. A lot of the work that I do is around self-awareness. Right. So I don't believe in giving relationship advice. I don't believe in telling you what you should do as with your relationship. As a coach, I believe that my job is to ask you the questions. You have the answers, right? I'm just here to ask the right questions to help you get there. So I'm not here to tell you to leave him, or whatever. I'm here to help you really figure out what a healthy relationship looks like for you and what you need to do to build it, but also maintain that healthy relationship. A little bit about me. So I'm Erin. Coaching is actually, I guess, a second career for me. By trade, I am an attorney. But shortly after practicing, actually probably within like the first few months, I knew that being an attorney wasn't my purpose. I knew that it's not why I was created. And so I went on this long journey to figure out why I was created because I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't happy. I struggled with depression and anxiety for a long time, which I'll tell my story in a future episode. But I knew that being an attorney wasn't it for me. And so I went on this deep search and soul, trying to figure out why I was created. And I came up with coaching. I didn't realize it then, but I've been a coach my whole life. People have always come to me seeking advice or guidance, which I always thought was funny because I've never told people what to do, right? I've always been of the mindset that, right, is your life. You have to learn how to navigate it. And so I've always been the type to ask questions. So when people call and say, hey, well, what do you think about this? I'm for sure always going to ask, well, what do you think about it, right? It's not my life. I don't have to deal with whatever consequences, right? You got to learn how to make the best decision for yourself and be confident in that decision. And so that is what, I help people figure out. But as I was thinking about my own life journey and the things that I have overcome, and I was trying to think, well, okay, so I figured out that coaching is my purpose, but what does that look like? What specifically can I help with? And I came up with emotional intelligence. And I understand that most people don't even know what that is, right? So emotional intelligence is your ability to understand and identify your own emotions and figure out, right, one, what's the cause of those emotions? Is there something that you need to do, right? How do you respond to those emotions? But also, how do your emotions and your behaviors, which are dictated by those emotions, how do they affect people around you, right? And then using all of this, plus being aware of, whoever your partner is or whoever you're talking with, all right, being aware of their emotional state and using all of this to have healthy conflict resolution skills. I feel like once I became emotionally intelligent, my life became a lot more peaceful. I really learned it and I really perfected the skills of emotional intelligence at work. And that is actually where a lot of times when people talk about emotional intelligence, they talk about it in a work setting. So, superiors, supervisors, or whatever, really understanding their subordinates or their employees and encouraging and motivating them to, excel. And that was kind of how I was introduced to it when I was a practicing attorney. I had, I'll say, a supervisor that every time I would give him something, he would write all over it. Needless to say, we just didn't have a very healthy relationship, at least for me, right? Every time he would leave my office, I would cry. I just did not know what I was doing wrong with him, right? Didn't matter what I did. It seemed like I was always wrong when it came to this one person, this supervisor that I had. And I just so happened to be in the program getting my coaching certification when it really was weighing on me. And I was in the portion of the program that was on emotional intelligence. And I said, oh, this is to improve relationships. And I said, well, let's see if it works. And so I implemented those skills that we'll go into more depth in the other later episodes. But I implemented those skills and I was able to turn that, relationship around from one where I always felt like I was wrong, like it was nothing that I could do to be right, that he wasn't listening, that he was condescending, right, that he wasn't hearing me, right, I felt misunderstood. I was able to turn that relationship around to one where it was a lot manageable for me, right? I took time to understand him, and using the skills of emotional intelligence, that relationship was no longer a problem for me. And so as I got my coaching certification, I realized that emotional intelligence is something that I was really passionate about. And I said, well, if it worked over here in this work relationship, will it work in in my personal life? And lo and behold, it did. And so I have chosen to work with emotional intelligence in romantic relationships because I think that romantic relationships have a greater impact on our quality of life versus a work relationship. I think if a work environment is toxic or unsafe or we're unhappy at work, we are a lot quicker to quit that job than we are to leave a relationship that's not healthy for us. And it truly makes me sad when I see people, women, men or women, in relationships and they're sad. And they know that the relationship is no longer serving them, but they have kind of just accepted that this is what their life is going to be. That truly makes me sad when I see people settle, because I believe that relationships are optional. Anybody that you allow to be in your space should be a positive addition. And so as I started to think, well, as I started talking to, more and more women, what is it? They know that this relationship is not healthy or is not what it should be, or, they aren't getting what they need out of a relationship. And so I started to think, well, why are they still there? Right. And that is the question that I've been trying to figure out so that I can help them. Right. And it's not that I want to help them leave, that, that's totally their decision. But what I want to do is I want to make sure that, everybody has the tools to have a relationship that aligns with their core values. Right. I want you to be in a space that you actually want to be in. Right. I don't want you to be in a space or in a relationship wishing and hoping that it looked like something else. And so my goal is to give my listeners, right, the tools and the resources to have a toolbox that will help them have a healthy relationship. So I want to help you learn, like I said, your communication style and how to communicate your needs to your partner, right? I want you to understand why you keep having the same argument over and over again, or why these things trigger you, or just why you're unhappy, right? Because it's always going to start with you. A lot of the work that I do is self-awareness. And so again, I'm not here to tell you to leave that person, right? Even if you come and you tell me that you are in a toxic relationship, I would never tell you to leave. But what I would want to do is figure out what part of you is attracted to that toxicity, right? Because that is the part that we have to work through if you are ever going to get out of that situation. Because if we don't figure out what inside of you is attracted to this type of person, you're just going to go and find somebody else that is the exact same. All right. So I think that emotional intelligence is a huge part of having a healthy relationship, first with yourself and then with any and everybody else. So I am super excited to be starting this. This podcast is the next journey, or my next project in helping people raise their emotional intelligence in order to build and maintain healthy romantic relationships. And so, yeah, I am really excited to be here. My guest that I have lined up, I think is going to be a great time, a great resource for those of you, who really want that extra support to really figure out those self-imposed barriers, right? What are the things that you are doing that are keeping you from the love and the relationship that you desire, right? And once you're able to figure that out, right, I hope that we also give you the tools to perfect that and to grow and to transform into the partner that you want to be. The title, Perfect Partner. Whenever I mention the perfect partner, people usually say, oh, there's no such thing as perfect. But when you think about it, perfect in context with partner, right, it means that you're using the word perfect as an adjective. And as an adjective, I'm going to read it for you verbatim. Perfect. So as an adjective, perfect means having all the required or desirable elements, qualities, or characteristics as good as it is possible to be. And so when you look at it like that, I think it's absolutely possible to have the perfect partner. I think you absolutely should have a partner that gives you all of the things that you say that you need in a relationship, right? Making sure that your needs are being met on every level, right? But also making sure that you're able to meet your partner's needs, right? And so what I do is I help you figure out exactly what it is that you need. Again, for you to be happy and successful, what type of partner do you need in your life? And who do you need to be as a partner to have that person? So the perfect partner, we are a safe space for you to come and learn about yourself, to grow. I will say this is not the space for salacious topics. This is not the space for you to come and give your opinion about somebody else's situation, because honestly, it's not helpful. All right. I'm giving you the tools to learn how to process your own emotions and know how, and for you to make a conscious decision on how to respond to what it is you're feeling, right? So this is not the place to come and talk about other people's relationship problems. This is not the space to come and be messy. Like, that's not what this is at all. I told you, that's just not me. It's not who I am, right? I am here because I truly and genuinely want to help you. All right. So this is the Perfect Partner Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I hope that you will stay tuned. I will say this, like I said, there will be a new episode every Thursday. But if you want the opportunity to join in the conversation live and be able to ask our guests questions, make sure you join the Perfect Partner community. Facebook group doesn't cost you anything to join. The only thing I ask is that you are respectful of other people, that you don't project your issues on other people, that you don't generalize, right? Just because it's been your experience doesn't mean that all men or all women are the same. Right. And so if you want the opportunity to engage in our conversations live or with our guests and to ask questions, join the Perfect Partner community. It's a safe space. Otherwise, you will be removed. Right. It's a safe space to really to grow together, right? You may be in a situation that you need feedback on, right? Again, we are not going to share our opinion about your situation, but you will be asked those questions that will help you figure out what is best for you in your situation so that you can make a conscious decision. But that's me. This is the Perfect Partner Podcast. I hope that you will tune in, and I will see you guys next week.